Hello guys, and welcome to another lab session of our Azure Administrator Study series. So this is lab number 7, and for this lab we're going to look at the Azure Storage. So if this is the first time you are doing this lab, make sure you check the link below this video and download all the files required for these labs. So I'll put a link right down, and then once you download it, you are good to go. So now let's look at objectives for this lab. So for task 1, we're going to provision the lab environment. For task 2, we will create and configure Azure Storage account. For task 3, we will manage a block storage. For task 4, we will manage authentication and authorization of Azure Storage. For task 5, we will create and configure Azure Files share. For task 6, we will manage network access for Azure Storage. So let's begin our lab. So we're going to start with task number 1. So first thing you need to do is go to portal.azure.com and sign in. Once you sign in, click on this icon here, which is the Cloud Shell icon. And this will open up PowerShell or Bash. If this open up Bash, click on this one to drop down, and then click on PowerShell. So the PowerShell should load up momentarily. So once it loads up, we're going to import all the files we need for this lab. So make sure you download all the exercise files, and then you have the labs in there as well. So click on this icon to upload those files. So once you click on the icon, click on upload, and then navigate to labs, and then click number 7, and we're going to upload these 2 files here. So I'll click on open. The first one is done, and I'll click on upload again and click on the second file, and it's done as well. So once we have this one on our Azure environment, we can actually type in ls, and that will list the files. So this is file 7 and also 7 right here. I'll create a variable for the location and another variable for the resource name. So let's do this. So create location, and I'll use East US, and create another variable RG name. So this will be AZ104-07-RG0. And now let's create the resource. So new AZ resource group. Right. And the name, so that's the name we just created, RG name, and the location, and this will be the location we just created. So this will be location, and that's about it. So let's click on enter, and that should create the resource group. We're going to now run the command that will actually install the lab environment. So to do this, let's go to the lab instructions here. So this is lab number 7. So click on manage Azure Storage, and if we check lab number 1, the task 1, step 6, just click on copy and go back to your Azure and paste it here. So essentially what this is going to do is going to use the template and also the parameter we uploaded to the Azure environment to build all the resources into our resource group. So let's do this. Okay, so this will take a while to complete, but let's check and see if it's completed or not. So I'm just going to close the Cloud Shell and go to resource group. So this is the resource right here. We click on that one and it's going to take a while to complete. So I'm just going to refresh this one. Okay, so for lab number 2, we're going to create and configure Azure Storage account. So to begin, let's click on the search option at the top and search for storage. So click on the storage account and click on add. Okay, so we just have to fill in the details to create our storage account essentially. So we give our storage account a unique name. So I'll name this one Coffee Store, and then I will select the resource group here, and for the region I'll put this one in the same region as the resource I created, so I'll leave it at East US. For performance I'll leave it as standard, and for redundancy I'll leave it as Azure Redundant Storage. That's the GRS, and we click on advanced. For the advanced session I'll leave the default option, so I'll leave it as it is, and then I will click on networking, and for networking too I'll leave it as it is, and I'll also click on data protection, and likewise I'll leave this one as it is, and then I'll click on review and create. Validation is successful, then I'll create the resource. So the resource has been created successfully, so let's go to the resource. Okay, so once we go to the resource, let's now look for the geo replication. So if you look at the left side of the blades, so this is the geo replication. Click on that one, and as you can see there is a secondary data center. So the secondary data center is West US, and our primary one is East US, as you can see right there. So let's see if we can make some changes to this. Let's go under configuration, and then let's scroll down here, and then under replication I'm just going to switch this one to just the locally redundant storage, and then click on save. Okay, now let's go back to the geo replication and see what happened. As you can see, once we switch to the local redundancy storage, as you can clearly see there, we no longer have the secondary. The secondary is gone. Okay, now let's go back to the configuration and then change the option for the block access type to code and save this session. Okay, so this complete task number 2. Okay, so for task 3, we're going to create a blob container and upload a blob into it. So to do this, let's click on containers under the data storage and click on container here and give this container a name. So I'll name this one as AZ104-07-container. Okay, and I'll leave the public access level to private, and I'll click on create. All right, so once this one is created, let's go into it, and now we can actually upload a file in here. So let's click on upload, and let's search for this file here. So we're going to upload this file here, Lances. Click on that one, click on advanced, change the access type to hot, and make sure the authentication type is also set to account key. And for the upload to folder, let's type in Lances here. So this will essentially make it look like the hierarchy of a folder. Okay, so once you have done that, you just have to click on upload. Okay, so this is done successfully. Now let's go into the newly created, and then you can see the file is in there and it's more like a folder. There you go. And you can see the access type is also set to hot. Right, so this complete lab number 3. For task 4, we're going to configure authentication and authorization for Azure Storage. So to begin, let's click on the Lances file we uploaded, and under the overview, let's copy the URL for this file. So I'll copy that, and I'll open a browser in private mode and paste it in here. And as you can see, I do not have access to this. I got an error message, and that is expected because when we created this this one here, we actually made it private, so we will not be able to access it externally outside the platform. Obviously, it's private unless you make it public. So what we're going to do now is that let's click on the generate SAS, and let's just make some few changes here. So with the start date, I'll leave it as it is. Okay, I'll just change this to probably yesterday, so I'll make it 17th, and the expiry date, I'll leave that one as no, I'll change that one to tomorrow, so I'll make it like 19th, and I think that should do, but I'll probably change this to the same time as today. Okay, so essentially that should do, and click on generate SAS token and URL. Okay, so that will be generated, and there we go, we got it here, the token and the URL right there. So let's copy the URL, and now let's open up a new browser and paste this in. And as you can see, we can now download the file. Okay, so I'm just going to close this one down again, and I will save the URLs because we will need this one for later. All right, so that one is saved into a notepad. Right, so now what we will do is, right, let's close out of this. So now I'll navigate back to the container we created, and once you're in this container session, under method, authentication method, click on switch to Azure AD account. Once you switch on this, you'll lose permission. You no longer have access to the data. Right, so now to gain access back, as you can see right there, no block is found right below there. Right, to gain the access back, what you have to do is we need to set up the access control. Right, so click on access control here, and then click on add, and add a new role assignment. And we need to search for the blob storage owner. So just type in storage, there you go, storage block data owner. And for the assign access to, I'll leave it at user, group, and service principal. And now I'll search for my user. So I'll select my user and then click save. Okay, so the role assignment have been done successfully. So now let's go back to the overview, and voila, as you can see, we now have access to the folder again. All right, so this is the end of task number 4. Now let's begin task number 5. For task 5, we're going to create and configure Azure File Share. So to begin, first of all, let's check to ensure that our VM is running. So search for virtual machines, and we can see VM0 is running. Now let's go back to our storage. So go back to storage account and select the storage you created and navigate down here, and we're looking for the file share. All right, so it should be somewhere here. There you go, file shares. Click on that and click on new file share. All right, let's give this a name. So we name this one AZ104-07-share, and we give this one a quota of 1024, and then we can create. Okay, so this is created successfully. Now let's click on it and click connect, and then under this session, under Windows, copy this code here. So we copy that to the clipboard. So once we have that one copied, we need to go to our VM. So now type in VM again and select virtual machines, select our VM0, and we're looking for the option to run this command. So run command and select run PowerShell script. Then paste the command we copied and click on run. So this will take a while to complete. Okay, so here we have it, the script executed successfully. So the next thing is that we need to add another script here to run. So to find a script, go to the instructions for this lab, and under session or task 5, click on this code here and copy it. So once you copy the code, go back to Azure and clear this one here. So just select all and clear, and paste the newly copied code and paste it in there and click run. Once again, this will take a while to complete. Okay, so here we have it. The script was run successfully. So now we can close this one down and go back to our storage account. Now let's select our storage and then click on file shares. Click on the file share we created, and here you have it. You can see the folder was created successfully, and if you drill into it, you see the file in there. Okay, so this complete task number 5. For task number 6, for this one, we're going to configure network access for Azure Storage. So to begin, let's navigate back to the storage account we created. So once you're back to the storage account, navigate to the security and networking and click on networking. And in here, select this option here. So allow access from, just select selected networks, and right below the firewall blade, you will see your IP address. Now check this option here, add your client IP address, and click on save. Once we click on save, now let's open up a new browser. So we open up a new browser in private browser, essentially in private browser, and then let's use the SAS code we created in a previous lab. I think it was lab 3. You copy that code and paste it here. All right, so we can still download it because we are allowing it just for IP address. Let's check to see if we can access the same resource from elsewhere. So to do this, I'm just going to use the Cloud Shell. So I'll click on the Cloud Shell icon here. And once the Cloud Shell open, make sure you select PowerShell. And let's try to make the connection from here. So I'm just going to use the invoke command. Web request. And then URI. And then type in the URL for the SAS. Paste that one in there. And there you have it. So authorization failed. So we can only access this by my IP address. Any other person that tries to access it will not be accessible. So this is the end of our lab. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope this one helped you out. And as always, if this helped you out, make sure you subscribe to our channel, and we will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.